Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm back with a new movie spoiler review. I'll be covering the Netflix movie, The Christmas Chronicles. It's something that for some reason, I've avoided for at least a couple of years. The first one came out in 2018, and the other came out in 2020. Uh, both around like November. So I'm pretty sure they might have shot it fairly close together, like at least maybe like a year or so apart. And they've been getting they got good reviews, but for some reason I kind of avoided it. But I wanted to make sure I reviewed it for this year. And apropos to Christmas Day, I wanted to talk about this. I want to say these two movies to review on Christmas Day. I had to, because I think, because for the longest time growing up, I always loved Tim Allen as Santa Claus. He was always, growing up, my Santa Claus. But as watching Kurt Russell as Santa Claus and Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Santa Claus, I don't know, man. It's like Kurt Russell fairly quickly kind of like edges out Tim Allen in terms of being like a part easily the best Santa Claus. Although there is he had that Tim Allen had that mantle for a very long time. I think a lot of people put Tim Allen Santa Claus at the tippy top of best Santa Clauses, but I don't know. In the past few years, the Christmas Chronicles have gained a reputation, a good reputation, and it's thanks to the charisma that is Kurt Russell. It's just epitome of cool, and it's just like, golly, man. But like, he's really good, very charming, and it's like funny. I was watching like a video last year where somebody ranked like all the, I think they kind of stuck to the live action version of Santa Claus, and they went over every version of live action Santa Claus that was ever been made, and it came down to Tim Allen and Kurt Russell, with Kurt Russell just narrowly edging out like being the best, because not only with he had the best use of the magic, but also the charisma and his way of delivering presents. Like, it seems like very well, creatively done. There isn't kind of hacky or, just barely put together just to eke out a level of, okay, I buy it kind of thing. It's like, no, that's, that tracks. And then the world, the North Pole, seems more lived in than you ever seen before, compared to how Disney with Tim Allen's Santa's Workshop kind of thing seems so. Even though that seems very lived in, it's just, by comparison, it didn't. Tim Allen's version of the North Pole Workshop seems, I don't know. The first one seems more whimsical, but as time went on, it seems like, okay, let's pull this backdrop on. Look, they both don't have any kind of CGI BS backdrop. They both, you can actually walk through and be present. But it's just, Kurt Russell's version seems more like, I don't know. Hey, kidding. The world seems more. I don't know the proper words to say, but it just seems like just not only lived in, but natural and believable, and it doesn't seem like Disney-fied, if I can use that term. Um, and then the elves, you don't appreciate, because also just kind of saving money. I appreciate the use of using children as elves. Also, there is like a thing where you could use actual little people to be the elves. Uh, 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 but the CGI elves in Kurt Russell's Christmas Chronicles seems fun, but also borderline on like the kind of crazy you will see in something like Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's like, golly, that is just like crazy good use. Um, but anyway, I just want to point that out. I think like Kurt Russell's Santa Claus is probably like honestly superior. He's definitely superior. Anyway, back to the story. Uh, uh, the movie opens with this family, the Pierce family, where let me go over the cast. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. This is directed by Clay Catus, and Kurt Russell stars as Santa Claus. Uh, Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus. We got Judah Lewis as Teddy Pierce, a 16-year-old boy. Darby Kemp as Kate Pierce, the 11-year-old sister. Uh, we have Kimberly Williams Paisley as Claire Pierce, the mom. Lamorne Morris as Officer Jameson. Uh, Martin Roach as Officer Poveda. Oliver Hudson as Doug Pierce. Uh, and we see the Pierce family through, of course, the home video of their sharing their life every Christmas. I imagine there's more besides just the Christmas one, but it's Christmas, so we got to focus on the home video of that, where we see like you just starting out their little family with their firstborn son, and him, you know, each year growing up, leading up until uh, 2018, where they had like he's growing up, and then eventually they have like a newborn baby, the young girl, and then like, them growing up. So it's like a wonderful family. Great starting off point, setting the tone of the dynamic, getting to know this family pretty quickly without having certain things spelled out. So it's very well done. Um, uh, uh, but tragedy struck, as tend to do with these family movies sometimes. The father was a firefighter. He died in a line of duty. So now the son is starting to become a little bit of a delinquent, helping some goofy friends of his steal a car. He's pretty much kind of like keeping. He lost his Christmas spirit pretty much. While the young girl is, keeping it, seems like the only one keeping it alive. Mom too sometimes, but she's still kind of like trying to keep things moving as she's working as a nurse and always on call. She's barely had time to really uh, uh, manage the children. Kate ends up catching, because she constantly had this video camera with her, because she, wants to record a videotape to send to Santa Claus to give her Christmas wish. Uh, uh, she ends up recording her brother stealing a car, So she ends up bribing him. Well, they get into a fight where they end up knocking stuff down as the mom comes in. But she's prepared to rat the brother out until she saw the look on her mom's face, knowing full well that she can't take. Kudos to the children in this film. Clearly, they got certain subtle reactions that they do to signify that, okay, I don't need to spell out, but I can read their minds. Like, the boy earlier was going to tell this girl about what he thinks is true about Santa Claus. I'm not going to say it here because I don't subscribe to that. I don't care for people who want to like try to ruin the Christmas magic for young kids. I don't like that. I think you kind of like a piece of crap for doing something like that. You know, it's just that's just me. But I like that look where he sees like he isn't all lost. He sees like, look, I might not be like, I might, grown up, quote unquote, but I'm not too much of a dick to shatter this young girl's mind. So, I want to, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not that much of a douche. And so you get the same moment with Kate, where it's like, okay, I'm not doing this necessarily for my brother. I'm doing this for mom because she's already been through. She already been through enough, and she cannot add more stress because she's already worried. So I'm just not gonna rat him out. Instead, instead she ends up bribing him because as the mom has to go out on Christmas Eve night to help out at the hospital, she goes through the video camera and she notices in one of the old home videos as her parents, when the father was still alive, the last Christmas before he died, they was dancing in the living room, and as they was heading upstairs, the camera was still recording. Don't know why they didn't shut it off. Cause who leaves a video camera? I mean, I guess they forgot you can claim that, but nobody watched this video played back before. Cause Kate, I know this is kind of like a nitpicky thing, but I can't help but notice as I was watching, how come Kate, for the first time ever, played this particular moment in time back and notices an arm reach out from a fireplace and toss a present underneath the Christmas tree. Because honestly, when I watched this for the first time, I did get kind of spooked out by that kind of thing. Because can you imagine the unsettledness that you see if you watch an old home video around Christmas time, and then as it keeps playing and you notice it's like a weird hand pop out of nowhere and tosses a present underneath the tree. And usually Santa, places like, presents underneath the chimney with places presents carefully underneath the tree. Not just toss it haphazardly like, here, just chucks it. I get it, he's on like a time crunch, but some of those presents gotta be delicate, so she convinced her brother that she'll give him the tape of him selling a card in exchange to helping catching Santa Claus. So they set up a trap, which kind of sets off a little jingle alarm for them. And as they race out the door and look on top of the roof, they notices a red streak hopping from house to house to house to house to house in quick succession, like in like a red mist. And they end up noticing the Christmas sleigh. They sneak on board as Santa Claus hopping his ass into the seat. He gets startled because they live in Massachusetts. On the way to Chicago, where I'm from, he gets startled. They end up crashing, and he ends up not only losing the sack of presents, but his hat that's supposed to contain uh, his access to his magical abilities, but also his reindeer scattering off into the neighborhood. So he's annoyed, but he still managed to not lose his temper. But he's like, okay, I got 4 hours to get my items. It's kind of like a video game, honestly. You gotta collect these items just to finish the mission. So, to avoid being on the naughty list for life, they decide to help Santa retrieve his stuff. And I love when like movies maintain the consistency of the lore of Santa Claus, like him being able, because I mentioned this in a previous movie last week, maintain the power set of Santa Claus, like the fact that he not only can speak every language from every country. I guess one of the biggest things that Kate, wants to be able to learn, because she has trouble learning a different language. That comes swinging around in a minute, but Santa Claus even speaks Elvish. We get we get to see some elves in here, and they feel like true blue elves to me, instead of just little people or kids. Yeah, they actually got an elf look to them. He goes in his bar with the kids, and he making an announcement to the room. It's like, look, I appreciate anybody can loan me their car or give me like a ride to help retrieve my reindeer. Of course, people are thinking that he's losing it, like kind of losing it. Some old dude in a Santa suit, but he walks up to people like the hostess Wendy. It's like I'm sorry things didn't work out. Remember when because I know you wanted to be like a fashion designer. I remember back when you was a kid, I gave you that sewing set, and it's like I love it. It's like, yes, Santa Claus would know every present he gave to people throughout each Christmas, and their names and their addresses where they lived, or any new address where they lived. He just knows that intrinsically, and just taps into that. I love it. And he speaks different languages, like speaks Mandarin to Chinese people, and speaks Hindu to Indian people. And I love this moment where the father, the Indian father, was like, he speaks Hindu first, and then in English, and I speak English too, douche. And I love the under his breath, Santa's like, well, I hope you like cold in your stocking. I was like, oh my god, it delivers it in a way only Kurt Russell can deliver it. That's what make it work. Oh my god. But then he goes to this couple, and oh god, I hate the wife in this, because oh my god, like, can you imagine, like, oh my god, where he decides to trade, because he always just whips out these different gifts that he knows that a person would definitely want, something that ties to their childhood, or to the, something that they want very deeply, above all else, kind of thing. And he almost always delivers, and he just pulls out like a magic trick, and he just whips out a Mickey Manilow baseball card. I'm pretty sure it's Mickey Manilow, and the husband at the bar is like all like lit up. And it's like, oh my god, because I don't collect baseball cards, but being a person who collects Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Chaotic cards, I can understand the sentiment as somebody give like a super rare valuable card that will be worth probably millions, like upwards in like the tens of millions, and it's like, I'll trade this for your Porsche that's outside. And it's like, yeah, this is worth like, like 1,000 Porsches. Like sure, take my Porsche. But then the wife snatches the thing out his hand and rips it up like freaking Kyra did the Blue Eyes in episode 1 in Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted to punch that woman. Oh my god, why would you do that? I mean, I'm not like a baseball card collector, but even I can understand the value of that. Almost any person would. Why would you do that? It's like, oh my god, like that's grounds for divorce. Like, I don't believe in divorces, but there are certain things that yes, there is grounds for divorce. And in terms of like a man's side of things, who want to divorce a woman, that is something like almost any dude will understand. Why would you do that? That's just that. Clearly, she's got a bug up her ass about something else that kind of, like resulted in that. Because no reasonable woman would do that to their guy. I mean, you can snatch it and give it back to Santa and say no. And I would have been fine with that. But why would you rip that up? Oh my, that really ticked me off. Oh, that really ticked me off. Because why would you do that? Oh my god. Oh, that made me so angry. That really made me angry. Oh god, why would you do that? Anyway, so that's when he got into a confrontation with the bartender, which of course Santa Claus knows about him because he just recently got out of the joint for boosting cars, and he made a point to bring it out to what's that kid's name? Teddy. Of course, he brings up to Teddy right there. It's like, see, Teddy, you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna be just like him in the same spot right there. And I'm glad that because of course Santa Claus would know who's been naughty, who's been nice, and exactly what naughty thing they did. Of course, stealing cars, naughty immediately, like duh. So he knows that, like, look, Santa Claus told him, like, I know you stole that car, the red car outside. I know that's stolen. You can help yourself immensely if you help me out tonight. If you let me use that car. And of course, dude's a douche, so he wasn't gonna let that fly. So he tells him, like, kick rocks, and he tried to attack them with a baseball bat. The hostess trips him up with, like, a pitcher full of ice as they make their way outside and take steals his car. And as they start tracking down the reindeer, and although they kind of point out certain neighborhoods downtown Chicago, because I know what roads they were taking. Now, I'm not sure if they actually was filming these scenes in actual Chicago, or it was just some kind of built-up area. But at the very least, they, it's nice to put in actual street names and corners, and the shots look like the actual streets, because I've been in those areas downtown multiple times, so I know exactly what roads Santa Claus was taking. So I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, Kate spots the reindeer going down one direction while they're getting chased by cops who are reported who the car that was stolen was reported on. So Teddy and Santa hang back to deal with the cops while Kate goes to wrangle the reindeer. Of course, Santa tries to convince the cops like he is who he say he is, but here's the thing. Santa, these grown people won't believe you. Of course, and that's another thing, which I find like kind of like a personal error of films like this, not just this, but films like this, where Santa Claus is rolling into town and you you can coast on the fact that people won't believe you're actually Santa. However, when you start utilizing your magic and flying on your reindeer, you don't want that getting out. And by the way, this little girl Kate's in the filming all of this, mind you. And at no point Santa Claus says like, please don't record this. Or, of course, you know, I want to say right here. Of course, he ends up using magic, taking the video away, so she doesn't have proof of what transpired for obvious reasons. But it's kind of, well, I'm about to say it's kind of pointless, but not really, because sure, there's only like a small group of people might have seen some stuff, but it's far different than having like an actual video recording going viral for the world to see. That in of itself is like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. But even still, you shouldn't be like showcasing too much stuff, because it's 2018. People had camera phones. This is not the 90s or the 80s where people can't just whip out phones and easily record. Well, then again, if I was the writer of this movie, even if somebody tried to pull out their smartphone and try to record this moment, Santa Claus would probably like cause static or something like that, so it can't get a clear image, so it's not like it won't fly. Cause so yeah, I mean you can make up whatever, but even still, you shouldn't be like flaunting it in full view of. I don't care how small the public is, but they shouldn't be seeing this crap anyway. You're trying to keep this kind of thing hush hush for a reason. Anyway, Kate comes in after finding the reindeer. Santa gives Teddy a sphere to track down his sack of toys. So he hops on one of the reindeer with Kate and goes to find the sack of toys that fell in the park while Santa Claus is being brought in for questioning. Because now the cops are under the assumption that Santa Claus has kidnapped some children from Massachusetts. So obviously they're going to put on red alert. Obviously. Of course, they're not buying the whole Santa Claus shtick, even though he's pulling out all these different toys that this kid either wanted or gotten for Christmas when he was a young kid. He points out to Officer Pavdova that I know what you wanted for this year. You want to get back with your ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. Because it's never explained why they broke up in the first place. But he managed to, because as I stated before, Santa Claus has the capability of getting darn near anything you wish for to, and no matter how he can do it, he'll try to do it to get that done. So the ex-wife ends up calling the guy and ends up like, hey, I want to meet for dinner and trying to get back together. It's just like, I like this where it's like, it's never fully explained how Santa Claus did it. It's just magic. It's just like showing that, kind of maybe re-spark that feeling that they have for each other that, got them together in the first place. And of course, while inside the prison cell, which I get the point, he's trying to reunite the spirit of Christmas, because while he's not on his trajectory of delivering presents, the Christmas spirit starts to dwindle. And as he points out to the officer, the longer I'm not on my mission, there will be an increase of uh, a decrease in Christmas spirit. Therefore, rising tensions, anger, frustration, uh, things that will eventually lead to more crime, more so than usual. And of course, there's like an inside joke that they always have about Chicago being like a dangerous city and stuff like that. It's like, well, and mind you, we're in Chicago, like so you can be very busy starting tonight if I'm not out there getting my rounds done. Uh, so he's in the prison cell and he's handing people instruments, trying to stall for time to raise up the spirits and singing uh, Christmas songs. And of course, you got like three women in a different cell, like singing like soulful background music, and of course, Kurt Russell being like kind of like a smooth musician himself. He's in a playing on a saxophone, and it's just there's like a whole musical number. I'm not a fan of musical numbers most of the time. This kind of drags. They do it in the sequel too, which is probably honestly worse than this in my opinion, because it almost feels like it's like an obligation they have to do in the next one since they did it here. It kind of drags the music down for me personally. Uh, while Kate and Teddy finds the sack of presents, uh, they was instructed to look inside and ask for help. Kate goes inside and she is teleported to the North Pole, where she finds the section where it keeps all the letters from kids that was delivered to Santa Claus. Finds a more recent letter from her brother stating that his only Christmas wish is to see his dad again. Which is, I like when they do the whole uh, uh, the dramatic parts, and they do it very well. Uh, and it's bounced out from the comedy. Uh, and she ends up finding the elves, who at first I thought was like, okay, these things look a little creepy, but eventually I gotten kind of used to looking at them, and I love that they like a nice blend of between cute and just vicious on a drop of a hat. It's just like a nice little blend, where they look like little holy terrors when they want to be, but they soon discover she's a true believer, and she comes from like a family tree of true believers, all but her brother, for obvious reasons. But I guess you would think Santa Claus would have taken into account that the guy lost his father and is obviously going through something. So it's kind of like not like so cut and dry, like, oh, he just want to steal because he just likes to. It's not just that cut and dry. But then again, he still did it, so it still counts as naughty. Uh, uh, so the elves decide to come help her out, while Teddy gets accosted by some random group of thugs, which honestly comes out of freaking nowhere, but I guess it kind of serves the purpose of when the elves start sprouting out of the sack of presents, and comes out with full blown weapons. Like they got little chainsaws, and honestly, these group of thugs in this warehouse, not one of them have any weapons at all, which I hugely doubt. You can assume that these guys are gang members, and this given in Chicago, you'd be hard pressed to find any gang anywhere without weapons. And they just run around scared around like nobody blasting no shotguns or nothing. I get it. This is like a PG-13 type of comedy, or is it PG-13 or just PG? I'm pretty sure it's PG-13. But they yeah, I'm pretty sure it's PG-13. But as they start just either having the gang members run away or they toss him outside in the trash, and they see Teddy, and they about to chainsaw him through the groin up. Like, oh my god, that's when I knew I love these little things. Oh my god, he was ready to like there's glee in their face, like motherfucker. It's just like they're ready to chop this dude in half until Kate comes out like he's with me, and he's looked at disappointment like, ah. I was like, golly, this is the moment I knew. Okay, I freaking love this film. This is the moment I knew I loved this film. They was ready to go that hard. It's like, oh god, I love this freaking film. It's so freaking funny. They got the biggest laugh out of me. So they help break Santa out of prisons. They give him like a spare hat, which kind of defeats the purpose of them trying to look for that hat. So they got a magical hat just somewhere in Chicago, and knowing that there's less than an hour left of Christmas to deliver the presents, so the kids help Santa deliver the rest of the presents in North America. That's because he was finishing up his rounds in North America when all this got started. Everywhere else except for like Mexico and some parts of Canada, that part of the world still had to be wrapped up, and they managed just under the wire deliver the final present in New Mexico to this little girl who managed to see Santa Claus eating her cookie, and I'm like, Mama, Papa, like Santa Claus, and then of course he dips out. I was like, but he takes Santa Claus takes them home. They say their goodbyes and thank yous, and he gives Teddy his hat as a souvenir, and he says like he never needed the magic. It's kind of those things where it's like all things that happen was meant to happen kind of thing, that kind of cliche, where it's like, yeah, I was, well, I would say I can reignite your Christmas spirit. He uses magic to fix up the decorations inside their house, just like the dad used to, as the mom requested the son to do that constantly. And mind you, it's up until the point of Christmas Eve. If you haven't done that by that point, it's pointless doing it now, kind of thing. But even still, when a parent tells you to do something, just do it. Not, because she should have knocked him upside the head, before the first week of December was done. If she told him, at least, heck, most people gets ready to decorate their house for Christmas sometime in November, or at the very least after Thanksgiving is over. Like, granted, let's just say they wait until the first week of December to start, she asked them to take care of the decorating the house. He wasn't at work all the time. If you notice, like, the kid hasn't gotten his butt up to decorate the house as you requested, well, you should be doing it as a family anyway. But if you told him to do something, he still hasn't done it. You should be going upside his head weeks ago. I don't know. This is, normally that would have been, like, any parent would be upside that kid's head. But, after, like, before the day is over, the first time you say something. Anyway, he gives, I like this little point where Santa Claus mentioned that he doesn't like saying ho ho ho, that's propaganda, and he's not really that fat because of course we eat so many cookies that people set out for you, you'll get of course you'll get overweight. It's like, so I'm trying to watch what I'm eating. But he gives her a ho ho ho, like an epic ho ho ho, before he heads out. And he tells them to be good, and of course he makes sure he got their presents inside the house. One of which is for Teddy, with a letter attached to it, which doesn't seem to shock the mom at all. Like a letter from Santa. What the heck is going on? That's weird. It was an ornament, and he states to Teddy that he doesn't have the power to do what he specifically asked, but he can at least do something that's close to it. So as it's kind of like the Polar Express. I got a feeling they got like inspired by the Polar Express with the bell. There's an ornament where Teddy looks inside it. He sees the image of his father, telling him he's proud of him. It's kind of like gives Teddy some reconciliation over his grief. And the movie ends with Goldie Hawn arriving at home, knowing full well that this wild adventure that word got around because of the L's, more than likely, about his little escapades, Santa's escapades. And of course, Santa Claus says, like, I got a movie we can watch. And he winks at the camera, does a little thing, like he always do to activate his little magic sometimes. And have little cakes, little tape. That it's like, yeah, you're not having this tape. What, you think I'm nuts letting you keep this tape? Like, I don't know why you think there's. I'm glad Teddy points out you didn't really think he was gonna let you keep that. It's like, yeah, duh. Why would you think that? But yeah, this is like a fun movie. So I'm ready to like talk about the sequel. Yeah, I got some words for the sequel. But if you've seen the Christmas Chronicles, if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Is this like an automatic Christmas classic in your eyes, or did you have to warm up to it, or it just wasn't your bag? I'm curious because I kind of avoided this for a hot minute until I decided to like, okay, I want something new to watch that isn't like a Hallmark Christmas movie kind of thing. And you know what? People spoke highly of the Christmas Chronicles, so I decided to put it on a list this year to talk about it. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. And do you put Kurt Russell as like the best variant of Santa Claus of all time? Because honestly, it was Tim Allen, but man, after watching this, yeah, Kurt Russell is way better. I mean, not way better, slightly. Like at least 2 or 3 notches above Tim Allen. But in any case, I will see you guys in a little bit as I talk about the Christmas Chronicles 2. See ya.